The theme of our workout is a push-pull, so we're doing chest and back. We like to get a lot of this powerlifting movements in because he does compete competitively as a powerlifter as well. So we like to incorporate a lot of these movements into his regimen. So, and also, as you know, doing a lot of these powerlifting movements does create more density, and his type of body frame, he needs a lot of these powerlifting movements to pack on dense muscle. So.
Okay, now this is certainly a powerlifting movement, and the question that we would ask ourselves if we are not powerlifters. Certainly some of you out there are powerlifters and some of you are not. And I'm speaking primarily, at least I think I'm speaking primarily to a bodybuilding audience, right? So my objective personally and in my training and my objective in this class is to help bodybuilders improve their physique. So the question I ask myself is this a good exercise? Is this a productive exercise? Is this an essential exercise? Is this a risky exercise? These are the things we have to ask ourselves. If this is a risky exercise and it isn't essential for physique, if we can get as good or better physique results without a risky exercise, shouldn't we do that? Okay, so watch when he comes down.
And then whenever I'm prepping for bodybuilding, normally I'll keep the powerlifting movements in there, but they're not as heavy. This was the first time where I ever focused on maintaining strength.
He's got the weight cleared off the ground right now, right? And his torso, of course, is almost perpendicular to gravity, which means there's an awful lot of load on all the muscles along the spine, right? The paraspinals. But you can also see that what he's doing is he's maintaining rigidity in his spine, so those muscles are loaded isometrically. They're not expanding and contracting. They're not opening and closing the way a bicep. It would be like me doing this, right? The bicep would be loaded, but it's not opening and closing, so it's isometric contraction. Okay. Now when he gets to the top, of course, the load is gone, right? Because it's pulling straight down. It's not pulling perpendicular to his torso. So Stan said that this is a good exercise for density. Now, we've all heard this, and we've never done a formal study. No one has done a formal study. So what we've seen is people like Arnold, people like Franco Columbu, people who have muscular physiques, but don't do just deadlift. They do deadlift and rowing and this and this and this and this. And they end up with a physique, and we can't tell how much each of those exercises contributed, right? So we end up believing that this was part of the equation, right? But the question is, have there been bodybuilders? Will there be bodybuilders? Can there be bodybuilders that can develop quality physiques with density without doing exercises that put this much strain on the lower back? Now, if he's powerlifting and he's competing in powerlifting, he has to do it. There's no doubt about it, right? But if he's not powerlifting and he doesn't have to compete in this particular lift, and this does pose a certain risk to his lower back, and he can get as good or better results from a physique standpoint without it, shouldn't he do it? In my opinion is, you can get as good results without it. Everything has its place, right? My focus, and I think your focus, is physique. We want to maximize physique results. And that means that we want to spend as little time, as little energy, as little risk doing exercises that don't produce a physique result. So the other thing about powerlifting and also football training is that we're not involved in a power sport. And if power training truly was far superior in terms of building muscle to high rep training, then that would be one thing, but that is not the case. So what we know now is that time under tension and sarcoplasmic training produces a very, very dramatic increase in muscular size, oftentimes greater than heavyweight low reps. So we really want to be clear. We really want to focus on what works and what doesn't work and why, which is not to suggest that the exercises that we're excluding don't have value somewhere else. They just have less value for our goals, which are physique development.